Well, the American government announced this week it is taking steps to normalize relations with Cuba, and that is a huge step. For decades, Americans pursued a policy of isolating Cuba diplomatically and economically, and now that's all going to change. The news is being greeted positively both in Cuba and with Cubans living outside the country, including here in the Yukon. Rubisel Garcia has made his home here in Whitehorse, but he still has several ties to his homeland, and he joins us now. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, your response, I guess, first of all, to this news this week that relations between the United States and Cuba were going to really change.
Oh, yeah, I think that's great news. I, like many Cuban, I sure the new politic of the American government and the Cuban government. So it's very good news for Cuba, and I hope I'm hoping for a great future for my people in Cuba. Yeah.
So you still have family members, friends back in Cuba?
Oh yeah, I have many friends there, and most of my family is also there. Yeah.
So I'm not familiar with the situation. Are you able to go back and visit? What are the sort of restrictions that are in place for you right now? Anything?
No, actually, I don't have any restriction to go to Cuba, and in a week I'm going there. So I'll take my family with me, my daughter and my wife is going with me. So it's gonna be good to be there and see people reaction. Yeah.
Would that be the same if you were in the States, though? Would you be able to go back and forth like that?
Yeah, I think like a year ago, Obama changed the restriction for Cuban who live in the States, and they are allowed to go there as many times as they want to go, yeah.
So you've been in touch with your family back in Cuba since this news came out?
Yeah, sure. Early in the morning, I phoned my mom just to let them know, because they announced that the president was going to talk to the Cuban people, but they didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But early in the morning, I saw the news, and I wanted to tell my mom that something great was going to happen, and I let her know. Yeah.
So how do you think it's going to change Cuba?
I think the life of the people is going to change a lot, because we are hoping for improvement in the economy. We are hoping that people with small business and people who are not working with the government, they will have more chances now to improve their life. So I think that's something that is not going to happen soon, because the main problem between the American and the Cuban government is economic embargo, and the embargo is still there. So it's gonna take some time to get rid of the embargo, because it's a law, and it goes through it has to go through the government, and there is a lot of opposition in the state. I don't think it's gonna be an easy task to eliminate the embargo soon. Yeah.
So the first thing that will likely change is, tourism. People from the States will be able to go to Cuba. So that'll have some positive impact, but the real change will only come, I think, if that embargo is not even just lifted, if it's softened somehow, I guess.
You are right. I think Obama doesn't have too much control on changing the embargo, because the Congress the embargo is controlled by a law. The name of the law, I think, is Helms-Burton, and it's been there from 1996, I think. And Obama can I think soften the embargo a little bit, or at least the effect of the embargo might be softened by allowing the American companies to invest in Cuba, but I don't think it's going to be an easy task to lift the embargo for sure, yeah.
Do you think that this would have any impact on the way Cuba is run? Once some of these things are lifted and changed, do you think that it's going to lead to some sort of change or demand for change within Cuba?
For sure, yes. Once people start making enough money and getting a better income, I think they will be more free to make their own decision. Right now, if you work for the government, and you don't have enough money, and you don't have any way to make money, you have to be careful, and you have to try to keep your job. So if you have an extra income, or you have your own business, I think that's a way to make people free. I think somehow, yeah.
Do you think there's any concern? Cuba is such a unique culture. You don't want things to go back to the way they were under Batista, and over the years, the isolation is somewhat. It's such an amazing place in so many ways. I mean, are people a little bit worried they'll lose some of that uniqueness? If another 3 or 4 million people start visiting there every year?
Yeah, I think that's a concern, and actually for me it's also something I've been thinking of, the way Cuba is gonna change, because we need to keep the good things we have there. Like everybody knows, even people who don't agree with the Cuban government policy, they know that the education system is something good that we have there, and education is also something great that we have there. But how to keep that is something that the Cuban government, I think, should plan very, very well, because once people start making more money, I'm assuming that people will start making good business there. Like the American people will start investing there, and the differences between the poor people and people who are getting rich will be huge, will be more than that we have now there, and I think that will be a problem. We will see that for sure. But hopefully the government will try to keep all the great stuff we have there, Yeah.
Great. Well, it'll be interesting to watch, certainly.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Thanks very much for your time today. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here today.